The last Battlefield game fell far short of expectations, with many veteran players claiming the franchise was dead. The question on everyone's mind is, can this new Battlefield bring the series back? Let's get into it. The new title is set for release at the end of this year. You cannot imagine the level of anticipation for this game. There's a lot of hope, but also a lot of fear. My goal in this video is to try and predict the road to release, how it's going to play out, as well as what sort of features and points of interest we will likely see. But let's start with what we already know. We know that this new game will be set in the modern era. We know the developers are aiming to draw some inspiration from Battlefield 3 and 4. Thumbs up. We know that as well as the multiplayer experience, there will also be a single player campaign, and also, somewhat controversially, there will be a battle royale experience. But let's first go to the single player and my predictions for that. Oh, before we go any further, I have to apologise. I've just developed a nasty flu, so if you hear me coughing and spluttering, nothing I can do about it. Anyway, single player. I think we're all really hoping for something like this. A full cinematic campaign with twists and turns, different missions. None of this just, you know, here's this little bit, here's that little bit, like we've had in Battlefield 5 and Battlefield 1. We want like the full story with characters. Hopefully we'll see what happened to Wrecker. I'm hoping that it carries on as him in the next one. And maybe we'll see some other characters from Battlefield 4 as well, because Park will still be alive, and so will Irish at this point. Who knows about Hannah? Because obviously one character died at the end of Battlefield 4's story. But the potential's there, so I'm really hoping that they do something good with this campaign. And they've had a long time to work at it now, so that should be possible. So that's my prediction. Full cinematic campaign like this, with a good story that sort of relates to world events. I'd imagine it'll be somewhat related to world events at the moment. Now for the controversial Battle Royale. We really don't have much information yet. Hopefully, my personal hope for it is that it's similar to DMZ mode from Call of Duty. That is what Hazard Zone in 2042 should have been, I believe. So hopefully they'll get it together and actually give it the support it needs this time, because it just needs a little bit of support at the start, clearing out the bugs, balancing things, tweaks. Hopefully they get that right. Now, before we get to the multiplayer, obviously yesterday they just announced that later on today, at the time of me making this video, they're going to be announcing about the community playtesting. I obviously won't make a prediction for that just yet. I would rather wait to see what they say. I will link my thoughts on that at the end of this video. Now, the multiplayer. Things that they've said so far. They want to base it on Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4. They want sort of more tighter maps, so they're moving away from these giant oversized maps, coming back to something that's a bit more balanced gameplay wise, which is I think most people will celebrate that. A new thing that they've been talking about fairly recently is this caliber based destruction. So long story short, they want to kind of bring back the destructible environments in the game, because let's face it, in Battlefield 2042, it might as well have been non-existent. So how this caliber-based destruction is going to play out, not too sure yet, but I'd imagine it's, you know, the bigger the bullet, the bigger the hole. So hopefully, yeah, whether that's going to work with small arms or just with like explosive and large caliber weapons is remains to be seen, but we'll find out. We'll find out. So we're almost down to the predictions now. Before we do that though, I'd just like to address these rumours. We've had an anonymous person recently claiming to be a former DICE developer, and he hasn't had very good things to say about the way the game is going, let's say. My opinion is, until this person comes out and tells us who they are, I don't think it's to be taken seriously at all. A lot of it kind of flies in the face of what the development team themselves have been saying to us. I just can't see them after all the foul ups in the last few years with the game that they would just do a complete 180. So I mean, it's possible, but I just don't see it happening. So until that person comes out and gives us their name, I'm not going to take that seriously. And now we'll go to the predictions. So, the teaser trailer, I'm expecting it around May. Just remember, there's no E3 this year, so it could be at any time really, but I'm going to put it as May. That's my prediction. Then we should have some sort of single-player / multiplayer trailers. I think we'll get those around July. And the open beta, I'm going to pin as September, because let's face it, that's when they normally come along, isn't it? So, pretty easy there. And for release, late October. Now onto the single-player. I'm predicting that it's going to be an immersive story-based campaign in the mould of Battlefield 3 / Battlefield 4. They're moving away from the single missions style of Battlefield 5 and Battlefield 1, and a return of the beloved characters from Battlefield 4. I'm predicting we're going to see Wrecker again and a few others. Now onto the Battle Royale. I'm going to predict it's going to be similar to DMZ from Call of Duty. More competitive gameplay, so this will be, I'm guessing it's going to be more of a mode for people who want to compete, like clans and stuff like that. That's what I think. Now multiplayer, obviously we know there's going to be no more 128 player. They've said no more specialists, so we should be going back to the 4 classes. Maybe they'll do 5, we don't know, but I'd say 4 is a pretty good number. I'm going to go for 10 maps at launch. I'm going to go tighter play spaces when compared to 2042. They've said that, so that's a no-brainer. Meaningful progression. Now, obviously, in Battlefield 5 and in 2042, they had all these ranks that you didn't really get anything for, and I know Battlefield's kind of been guilty of that in the past. Bad Company 2 had quite a lot of that, but I'm really hoping this time that they're going to sort that out, so it's not so much of a grind just to get a rank number. Hopefully you get something out of it. So that'll be nice to see. And then we've got the caliber-based destruction, so the ability to chew up terrain with bullets. That's what I think. So you're going to be able to get your 240 Bravo, and you're just going to shoot a hole in the wall rather than relying on a rocket launcher to take out. You just shoot a hole through the wall, kill the guy behind it. That's what I'd like to see. And also great customization options, so we want to see, you know, without it getting to the sort of comical levels that it got to with Battlefield 5, we'd like to see soldier camo customizations, we'd like to see good weapon customization options. That's my predictions. Obviously we won't get into any predictions about this play test, because in about 5 hours we're going to have them explain that to us. So like I said, I will link my response to that at the end of this video. Hope you've found that insightful. What do you guys think? Are you ready for the next game, or are you a bit skeptical? Let me know in the comments, and as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.